Welcome back to our channel, your ultimate source for the most explosive daytime drama. Today is an absolutely beautiful day to dive headfirst into the chaotic, high-stakes world of Port Charles, where the secrets are deadly, the betrayals are deeply personal, and the fallout is always spectacular. Let us get straight into the madness that is about to unfold. The ultimate Port Charles powder keg is about to detonate, and the blast radius is going to take out half the town. If you thought the summer heat was already pushing your favorite characters to the breaking point, Thursday, July 16 is about to rewrite the entire rulebook. We are looking at sudden medical emergencies, vicious territorial showdowns, explosive secrets from the dark dungeons of Windermere, and a desperate race against the clock that will leave multiple lives hanging by a thread. Brace yourselves, because the drama is accelerating at a breakneck pace, and nobody is walking away from this episode. Right out of the gate, the most terrifying and urgent crisis strikes Portia Robinson. The relentless, suffocating stress of Curtis Ashford's impending legal doom and the vicious civil suit from Isaiah Gannon has finally pushed Portia's body over the edge. She is suddenly and violently thrown into premature labor, and the timing could not possibly. In a heart-stopping preview moment, a panicked and agonizing Portia screams out, "This baby is coming now." The sheer terror in her eyes says it all. She is entirely unprepared. The contractions are hitting her with brutal, paralyzing force, and the walls are rapidly closing in. The most horrifying part of this medical emergency is her absolute isolation. General Hospital spoilers strongly hint that Portia will not have the time or the physical ability to make it to the hospital. She is completely trapped, forced to face the terrifying reality of delivering her baby right there in her own home. Will she have to endure this agonizing, high-risk birth entirely alone, or will a shocking savior burst through the door at the final second? The stakes for Portia and her unborn child have never been higher, and the sudden medical crisis is guaranteed to change the Ashford family dynamic forever. While Portia is fighting for her life and her baby's survival, a completely different kind of life-or-death mission is unfolding in the sterile, high-security corridors of General Hospital. Anna Devane, driven by a lethal combination of psychological trauma and a desperate need for the truth, is crossing every single line to get what she marches straight into the hospital room of a recovering Jocelyn Jacks. Jocelyn is still battered, bruised, and healing from the brutal gunshot wound she sustained during the catastrophic Windermere showdown, but Anna does not have time for pleasantry. Anna is on a rogue, highly dangerous mission, and she needs the WSB blonde to hand over the missing puzzle piece. The tension in that hospital room is absolutely suffocating. Anna looks Jocelyn dead in the eye, and intensely declares that she hopes Jocelyn is the exact person who can get her across the finish line. This is not a friendly visit. This is an interrogation fueled by the dark, manipulative whispers of Anna's Peter August Hill. Both of these fierce women share a deeply traumatic bond. They were both held hostage in the exact same hellish, subterranean prison beneath Windermere. Anna was trapped in that nightmare from Halloween 2025 to early 2026, and she left something behind. Jocelyn is sitting on a massive, explosive secret, and the spoilers confirm she is finally going to spill it. Anna needs Jocelyn to confirm the cryptic, desperate message she carved into the wall of that Windermere cell during her captivity. That message is the absolute key to unraveling the international WSB conspiracy, and the dark mission the Peter hallucination keeps pushing Anna to complete. Jocelyn's revelation is going to be the absolute catalyst that sends Anna hurtling down a dangerous, vengeful. When Jocelyn finally opens her mouth and confirms the horrifying truth of what was written in that cell, the entire trajectory of Anna's life is going to violently shift. Speaking of the dark, gothic horrors of Spoon Island, Windermere is currently playing host to a desperate, high-stakes treasure hunt. Jack Brennan and Nina Reeves have infiltrated the sprawling Cassadine estate, and they are frantically tearing the place apart looking for Brennan's missing black box. This is not just a search for misplaced property. This is a desperate scramble for ultimate leverage. That tiny black box contains the definitive, undeniable evidence of Drew Kane's federal crimes. With Drew rapidly building a tolerance to his paralytic doses and threatening to wake up from his locked-in state at any moment, Nina and Jack are running out of time. If Drew regains his speech and mobility before they secure that blackmail material, he will absolutely destroy Willow and Nina. The adrenaline, the fear, and the intense proximity of this Windermere break-in are acting as a massive accelerant for Nina and Jack's relationship. As they scour the dark corners of the castle, their strategic alliance is rapidly morphing into a palpable, undeniable romantic bond. They are two desperate schemers, cornered by their own crimes, and navigating this high-stakes blackmail plot might just push them over the romantic edge. Will they find the box before Drew wakes up and burns their entire world to the ground? Back on the mainland, the emotional warfare is reaching a fever pitch inside the Quartermaine mansion. Michael Corinthos is cornering his ex-wife Willow Kane, and he is playing a ruthless, psychological game of chess. In a highly tense, cryptic exchange, Michael stares Willow down and coldly states, "We both know he gave you exactly what you want." The absolute ambiguity of this statement is driving fans insane. Who exactly is Michael talking about? Is he referring to the paralyzed Drew Kane, acknowledging some dark, twisted benefit Willow is gaining from his locked-in state? Or is Michael talking about Harrison Chase, actively acknowledging the undeniable, magnetic pull between Willow and the handsome detective? Michael is currently operating as a master manipulator, actively scheming to push Willow and Chase into a scandalous, marriage-destroying affair. He holds the ultimate leverage over Brooklyn Quartermaine's hit-and-run secret, and he is using every conversation to tighten the noose around his enemies. Willow is already spiraling into a state of pure panic over Drew's impending recovery, and Michael's cryptic, loaded accusations are only pushing her closer to a total mental collapse. Michael knows exactly which buttons to push, and he is ruthlessly driving Willow toward a catastrophic mistake. If you thought the Quartermaine mansion was tense, just wait until you see the absolute bloodbath going down at Bobby's. Carly Spencer and Britt Westbourne are clashing in a vicious, screaming match that has been years in the making. Britt has just returned to Port Charles, freshly cleared of her fake Huntington's diagnosis and released from her Tortola nightmare, only to discover that her entire life has been erased. She marches into Bobby's expecting to reclaim her apartment, only to find that a ruthless Carly has completely changed the locks. To make matters infinitely worse, Carly has already rented Britt's room out to the newly arrived Dr. Tristan Roberts. Britt is completely broke, homeless, and running on pure, unadulterated rage. She expects sympathy, but Carly Spencer does not do pity. In a moment of savage, unfiltered honesty, Carly gets right in Britt's face and delivers a verbal beatdown for the ages. "Stop acting like the world owes you something and fix your life," Carly screams, completely obliterating Britt's victim mentality. Carly is fiercely protective of her property and her family, and she has absolutely zero patience for Britt's volatile. Britt left town believing she was going to die and never return. Carly simply moved on. This brutal reality check is going to force Britt to either completely break down or aggressively fight to claw her way back to the top of the Port Charles hierarchy. Meanwhile, the pressure is crushing the younger generation as the highly anticipated music showcase finally arrives. Trina Robinson has been actively ignoring the toxic, radioactive fallout of her warring parents, desperately pouring every ounce of her soul into this massive career opportunity. The influential music industry executives are sitting in the audience, the lights are glaring, and the reality of the moment suddenly hits Trina like a freight train. The suffocating stress of Curtis's impending trial and Portia's family drama finally catches up to her, resulting in a devastating panic attack right before she is supposed to take the stage. "This is a mistake. I can't do this," Trina cries out, completely paralyzed by fear and ready to throw away her entire future. She is inches away from backing out and destroying her own dream. But Giovanni Gio Palmieri is not about to let his partner self-destruct. Gio steps up in a massive way, grabbing Trina and delivering an intense, passionate pep talk designed to shatter her insecurities. He reminds her of her undeniable talent and the sheer amount of work they have poured into this showcase. Gio is acting as her ultimate anchor, but will his words be enough to pull Trina out of her panic and get her onto that stage? Or will the Ashford family curse ruin her biggest night? Finally, we have an explosive secret regarding the catastrophic Route 91 crash that is about to change the dynamic between two of Port Charles's most dangerous men. Curtis Ashford tracks down Valentine Cassadine, and the conversation takes a shocking, deeply emotional turn. Curtis looks the former WSB operative in the eye and expresses his profound, undying gratitude. Fans will remember the horrifying night Curtis and Jordan were run off the road. What nobody knew until now is that Valentine Cassadine was the one who arrived on the scene and risked his own freedom to pull Jordan Ashford out of the mangled wreckage just seconds before the car violently exploded into a massive fireball. Valentine was a hunted fugitive at the time, and staying at the crash site to save Jordan could have easily resulted in his immediate arrest and a one-way ticket back to Steinmauer. Curtis has kept Valentine's heroic, life-saving actions a closely guarded secret, protecting the man who saved his former wife. But Curtis is not just here to say thank you. The spoilers confirm that Curtis is going to ask Valentine for another massive, highly dangerous. With Isaiah Gannon's civil suit threatening to destroy Curtis's life, and Martin Gray desperately fighting to keep him out of prison, Curtis needs Valentine's lethal, underground connection. What exactly is Curtis asking for? And will Valentine risk the wrath of WSB Director Z to help him? Every single storyline is colliding in a spectacular display of soap opera perfection. The medical emergencies, the psychological warfare, the bitter rivalries, and the desperate alliances are all reaching their absolute boiling point. Port Charles is a town built on secrets, and Thursday's episode is going to rip those secrets out into the glaring light of day. Will Portia survive this terrifying isolated labor, or is tragedy about to strike the Ashford? What horrifying message did Anna write on the wall of her Windermere cell, and how will Jocelyn's confirmation trigger a lethal WSB war? Can Nina and Jack secure the black box before Drew Kane wakes up and destroys them both? Will Britt Westbourne heed Carly's brutal advice and rebuild her life, or will she declare all-out war on the Spencer matriarch? Drop your wildest theories and boldest predictions in the comments below, because the fallout from these shockers is going to carry us through the rest of the summer.